Ahead, but first let's talk about the Iran war and what has been happening at that front. Waves of attacks and counterattacks while talks continue. The same pattern is repeating in these latest round of confrontation between US and Iran. If one side escalates, the other follows suit. In the meantime, the dance of good cop and bad cop continues to dominate the narrative on both sides. Remember, US President Donald Trump is taking the hard line. But this time, he's being cautious about deadlines. Donald Trump, who remember gave one deadline after another during the previous confrontation, is now saying that he does not like to give deadlines. But he's warned that Iran must behave.
Are you giving Iran a deadline before you start bombing?
I don't like giving deadlines, but they pretty much know the story.
So are you meaning
they better behave.
Now, there's no deadline for escalation, but remember the US president had earlier said that the strikes will continue until Iranian negotiators come to the table to finalize a deal. On the other hand, Vice President J.D. Vance has raised concerns over the approach of indefinite bombing. And this is where the two leaders differ. In a podcast with Joe Rogan, the American vice president said, and I quote him, "You can take away their radar, you can take away some of their drones and some of their missiles, but it's just too easy to fire at ships in the straits. So you've got to actually be willing to talk and to try to figure out the problem." Now, the Iranian side is also following a similar pattern as the US. Iran's Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei, has openly vowed to take revenge of his father's assassination. Earlier, he'd released a statement as well expressing his dissent over the Memorandum of Understanding with the US. Similarly, Iran's military command center has warned to blow up all infrastructure of West Asia if the US conducts attacks on Iran's civilian infrastructure.
Should the recent threats by the President of the United States to target the infrastructure of the Islamic Republic of Iran be carried out by that country's aggressive military, then everything that, due to Iran's restraint, has so far remained intact, namely all infrastructure in the region, will be crushed under the steel blows of the powerful armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran to such an extent that no trace of them will remain, as though they had never existed.
However, the negotiators are towing a softer line. Iran's chief negotiator, Mohammad Baghir Ghalibaf, said that his country does not welcome war and will never do it. He blamed the US for not honoring the negotiated agreement and vowed to uphold the rights of the Iranian people. Now, the statement was read by an Iranian news anchor. Take a listen.
During the negotiations, we also secured recognition of Iran's arrangements for the Strait of Hormuz by standing firm. Now that the United States, from a legal standpoint, is empty-handed, it's trying to undermine those Iranian arrangements through force. But we must stand by what we achieved so that the rights of the people are realized.
Both sides are now offering an olive branch to each other while simultaneously attacking one another. The dance of the good cop and the bad cop and the loop of escalation, talks, de-escalation and deadlock continues. But the cost of it is high, and the whole world is watching this entire uncertainty unfold. All right, let me welcome my guest on the show tonight. Lieutenant Colonel Daniel L. Davis is joining us. He's a military expert and host of the Daniel Davis Deep Dive on YouTube. He's joining us live from Virginia at the moment. Colonel Davis, welcome to WION. Good to have you back on the show. My first question, will this strategy, the good cop, bad cop strategy, will this work in favor of America as far as Iran is concerned? There's been, two differing stances and two differing tones that are coming out of Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. And not just right now, it's been happening for a while now. Will this strategy work for the U.S.?
I don't know that it's a good cop, bad cop so much as, at least on the American side, as it is that they're just struggling to find some kind of a strategy that everybody can get behind. Because we had this one where we were trying diplomacy. We had the ceasefire that went into effect in April, and then that turned into a blockade kind of quasi trying to get a memorandum of understanding. We finally got that. But then we didn't even come close to giving it the 60 days it was supposed to. President Trump got impatient just days into this, and he started changing the terms almost immediately and imposing things that the Iranian side was not going to agree to. And then it turned into kinetic stuff. And so now then you have Vice President Vance saying one thing and President Trump saying something different. And the real issue is, what is the America stance? Because I'm not sure even the Americans know on that. Of course, if we don't know, if we don't have a single voice, then it's going to be nearly impossible to have a diplomatic side with the other side, who also has different views on within their government about what they're going to think. So right now, I don't see any pathway to a success for either party. I see a continuation of this quasi-war that's not really a ceasefire, but it's not really a full-on war.
So it's interesting, Colonel Davis, that, you and I right now are speaking about the kind of strategy that the U.S. is deploying. But my simple question is, does the U.S. even want this war to end despite domestic considerations? Because many experts around the world believe that as far as and as much as Donald Trump can stop or choke Chinese trade through the Strait of Hormuz, they will do that for the long-term benefit.
It's a valid question, because on the surface of it, the answer is unequivocally yes. Definitely the United States wants this over because it has significant negative economic ramifications for us. President Trump himself, when he signed the MOU on the 17th of June, specifically said we only had about 4 weeks of our strategic petroleum left. He specifically said we were headed towards the potential for a depression if we don't get this strait back opened up. So he seemed to be focused on it then, but then literally days later, all of a sudden now he goes back into things that undermine that very thing. Paragraph 5 is being one of the main ones, because we wrote into there, President Trump himself signed the document himself that said Iran has the administrative control over the Strait of Hormuz for those 60 days without tolls. But then literally days later, we start introducing our own system in the southern part of the Strait of Hormuz, violating that term. And then, of course, that turned into difference of opinions and violence back and forth. So one may say, okay, well, did Trump really want it over? Because doing something that early in the process makes it look like he didn't want it to succeed for whatever other reasons. And that's a valid question that it's really, I don't think anybody can answer except President Trump. Based on the evidence, we do seem to be taking action that undercuts our own position and makes it incredibly unlikely that Iran is going to submit to the things that we want them to. And therefore, we have the situation that's unsolvable at the moment.
All right, so let's wait and watch, Colonel Davis, how this moves forward. The entire world is, of course, awaiting an end to this war. Whether or not it is intended towards that direction, we'll know hopefully soon. But I'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Colonel Davis, for joining us on WION and sharing your perspective.
Always my pleasure.
All right, with that, let's also tell you how the battle of global perception between the United States and China seems to have flipped. According to a survey conducted by Pew Research, more countries prefer Xi Jinping's China over Donald Trump's United States. Let's quickly dive deeper into the numbers that this survey reveals. In 36 countries that were surveyed, 36% of the respondents said that they have a favorable opinion about the United States. But China remains ahead with 46%, as you can see, of the respondents having a favorable opinion about it. China surged past US in the survey after Donald Trump took power. The poll shows that the US remained favorable to all of these countries under Joe Biden's presidency. Shifting our focus to the US and Chinese perception on freedom. Here's where the US is maintaining lead against China. 39% people say that America respects freedom of its people. On the other hand, 26% respondents said that China respects freedom of its people. Now, this is how it looks if we put this data on a world map. Only 6 out of 36 countries have a favorable opinion about the US. 5 remain neutral. All the remaining 25 countries prefer Xi Jinping's China over Donald Trump's United States. The research reveals that India, Poland, the Philippines, South Korea, Japan, and Israel are the only countries that favor US above China. All the other Asian countries, barring Israel and South Korea, have some territorial dispute with China, while Israel and South Korea have a strategic alignment with the US on Iran and North Korea, respectively. Now, the list of the countries that prefer China is long, but remember, some names draw attention, including America's so-called ally in its war against terrorism, Pakistan. NATO allies, including Italy, Spain, Germany, France, and Turkey. If we go by the study, the mismatch between government policies and public opinion has widened. Geopolitical alliances between countries, remember, do not necessarily translate into a positive public opinion. Shifting our focus now to India, Sonam Wangchuk's indefinite hunger strike entered its 19th day with growing concerns over his health. Doctors say the 99-year-old activist and engineer has now entered a critical phase of prolonged fasting. Now, they warn that if the fast continues, he could soon face organ damage. The Cockroach Janata Party, or the CJP, which is leading the protest, said that Wangchuk has lost more than 9 kilograms since the strike began. Several political leaders have met Sonam Wangchuk, while others have written public posts in solidarity, while also asking him to end the fast. Actors including Sonakshi Sinha, Imran Khan, Abhay Deol and Fatima Sheikh extended their support, as well as director Anurag Kashyap. The worsening health situation reached the courts as well. The latest leader to visit the protest site and visit Sonam Wangchuk was Aam Aadmi convener and former Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. Meanwhile, hearing an urgent petition, the Delhi High Court directed authorities to monitor Wangchuk's health every day and ensure medical care is provided whenever required. The court observed that the life of any citizen is precious. Both the centre and the Delhi government said that they had no objection to the arrangement. The petition before the court warned that Sonam Wangchuk may not survive the next 48 hours if he does not end his fast. However, Wangchuk has made it clear that he has no plans to call off this protest. In a video message released late on Wednesday, he said that ending the fast without any response from the government would send the wrong kind of message and undermine the purpose of this entire movement. Instead, he's asked supporters to focus on the CJP's proposed Parliament march on the 20th of July.
Instead of asking me to end my fast, I request you all to join the peaceful march on 20th July.
As per the party, around 1.5 lakh people have already confirmed their participation. The one-day protest is planned from Jantar Mantar to the Parliament and is being projected as a peaceful show of public support. The CJP has been demanding the resignation of Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan over alleged irregularities in the NEET undergraduate examination. The party says the latest findings in the CBI's probe have strengthened its case. In its submission before a special court, remember, the CBI alleged that Shivraj Raghunath Motegonkar, a coaching center owner from Latur, paid 5 lakh rupees to procure chemistry questions. The agency said that these questions were allegedly obtained from P.V. Kulkarni, who was part of the National Testing Agency, or the NTA panel, that prepared the examination paper. The CBI also alleged that Motegonkar's son attended Kulkarni's coaching classes. It claimed the questions were shared there before the examination. Now, the investigation is still underway, but remember, this case has already turned into a major political issue. For now, the focus remains on Sonam Wangchuk. With no breakthrough in sight, the standoff clearly shows no signs of easing, at least at the moment. Months after storming to power, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Vijay is crafting his own public narrative defined by his trademark portrayals on the silver screen. Few have transitioned from the world of cinema to politics with the ease that Vijay has. Our next report gets you more. Take a look.
Tamil Nadu Chief Minister C. Joseph Vijay is rewriting the rule book in Indian politics. From the silver screen to the hot seat in the corridors of power, Vijay has transitioned from an actor to the Chief Minister in his classic Talapati style. At the heart of Vijay's politics lies a simple strategy: connecting with the masses, just as he did on screen. Vijay's engagements with the public have shattered the glass ceiling that usually separates the ruling elite from the masses. After 2 months in power, Vijay is yet to address any pressure. Instead, he has relied on connecting with the masses directly, each interaction adding to his on-screen persona of a hero fighting for the common man. From making a surprise inspection at the government hospital in Chennai where he was born, to travelling on a public bus, paying for his own ticket. Or taking the wheels outside the state secretariat. Vijay has shown no love for the VVIP tag that most politicians in India carry. This level of public engagement is unprecedented in Tamil Nadu. The actor turned politician has proven himself to be an astute politician, one who can read the political moves, craft a narrative that resonates among the masses, showing politicians across India a template to engage with the public. While Vijay seems to have made a smooth transition from the silver screen, not everyone has found the transition smooth. DMK's Udayanidhi Stalin too dabbled in cinema once, but left the Tamil film industry for a more active role in the state's politics. The Stalin scion had once said it wasn't possible to achieve a political career through films alone, but Vijay has proven him and other skeptics wrong. From cinema screens to smartphone feeds, Vijay is betting that public engagement can translate into political momentum. For now, this strategy has delivered electoral success for Vijay. In a political arena where the battle for votes is increasingly being fought through visibility and a carefully crafted public connect, Vijay seems to have brought the tricks of the trade from the silver screen to the heart of Tamil Nadu's politics. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
Moving on, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to visit Punjab on the 17th of July. Officially, the visit is about inaugurating major rail and road infrastructure projects worth over 5,400 crore rupees. But politically, remember, it could be far more important for the Bharatiya Janata Party in the state, as the party looks to expand its footprint in a state where it has traditionally struggled. The Punjab visit comes at a crucial political moment. While the agenda focuses on infrastructure, the timing is crucial. While the 2027 Punjab Assembly elections approaching closer, the BJP is now attempting to strengthen its presence in one of the few major states where it has never emerged as the principal political force. After the long-standing alliance with the Shiromani Akali Dal ended, the party is now seeking to build an independent base in Punjab. During his visit to Jalandhar, the Prime Minister is going to inaugurate and lay the foundation stone for rail and road projects. The projects are worth more than 5,400 crore rupees. He will inaugurate the redeveloped Jalandhar Cantonment Railway Station and virtually dedicate 75 Amrit Bharat railway stations across 20 states. The Prime Minister is also expected to inaugurate the Daulatpur Chowk-Kartoli rail line, flag off new train services linking Punjab with Haryana, Himachal Pradesh and Varanasi. Besides unveiling key highway projects, including sections of the Delhi-Amritsar-Katra Expressway and the southern Ludhiana bypass. But beyond the development, the visit also reflects BJP's wider political strategy as the party seeks to further intensify its outreach in the predominantly agrarian state. Jalandhar itself, remember, holds political importance. The Doaba region is home to a large Ravidasya community, while the projects in Anandpur Sahib, Mohali and Sri Muktsar Sahib carry both religious and political importance. The BJP has also declared it will contest the 2027 Assembly election independently. Now, the party must overcome its limited organizational presence across large parts of rural Punjab while competing against the Aam Aadmi Party, the Congress and the Shiromani Akali Dal. Development projects and targeted engagement may help broaden the BJP's appeal, but remember, Punjab's politics has long been shaped by community equations and agrarian issues as much as infrastructure. All right, shifting our focus now, Ukraine's parliament has approved Serhiy Koryatskiy as the country's new prime minister in the latest government reshuffle amid the war. During a parliamentary session, a total of 289 lawmakers voted to support Koryatskiy's candidacy for the post. Now remember, Koryatskiy is the head of state for energy company Naftogaz. He was nominated by President Volodymyr Zelensky, citing his record in the energy sector. Zelensky stated that the energy chief was best placed to help prepare Ukraine for another wartime winter. The prime ministerial post, remember, was earlier held by Yulia Sviridenko, and she resigned after Zelensky announced plans to replace the cabinet. Sviridenko's visit, remember, who assumed the post in July last year, was supported by the parliament in a vote early this week. Amid the cabinet shake-up, one resignation has particularly sparked public anger in Ukraine. Thousands staged protests across cities in the country after the government dismissed the defense minister just 6 months into his tenure. Over 1,000 people gathered in central Kiev, singing the Ukrainian national anthem, waving Ukrainian and EU flags, and chanting slogans against Fedorov's dismissal. Now, the country's defense minister stepped down after leading a major expansion of the country's drone warfare capabilities. He also pushed key military reforms during Russia's attack. The protesters said Fedorov's exit raised concerns. They described the young, tech-driven minister as a key figure in Ukraine's defense leadership.
I came to defend the freedom of the Ukrainian people to choose effective ministers who genuinely try to carry out reforms in our government and not just set up corrupt schemes. And I believe that his dismissal is a slap in the face of the Ukrainian people.
The rallies held in several major cities mark only the second time that Ukrainians have taken to the streets in large numbers since the war with Russia began more than 4 years ago. The last of such rallies took place in 2025 after President Zelensky's move to curb the country's anti-corruption agencies sparked a public backlash. Let's talk about football now. Argentina are into the FIFA World Cup final once again, but a major political controversy has erupted. Argentine players unfurled a banner in support of their claim to the Falkland Islands, and the UK government now wants an investigation into this entire matter. Now remember, the holders produced a dramatic late comeback in Atlanta. The Messi-led side came from behind to beat England 2-1 and book a showdown with Spain in Sunday's final. After the final whistle, Argentina's players celebrated on the pitch, but it was one of their post-match displays that is now attracting a lot of attention. Several players were seen holding a banner. It read, "La Malvinas son Argentinas," which translates to "The Falklands are Argentine." Now, the Falkland Islands remain the subject of a long-standing sovereignty dispute between Britain and Argentina. The two countries fought a 74-day war over the island between April and June of 1982. The conflict claimed the lives of 655 Argentine servicemen, 255 British servicemen, and 3 islanders. In 2014, FIFA had fined the Argentine Football Association after its players displayed a banner with the same message before a friendly against Slovenia. FIFA said the gesture breached its rules on political messaging and team misconduct. FIFA has not issued a statement or confirmed yet whether disciplinary proceedings will be opened over this latest incident. The British government, though, on Thursday urged the international governing body to investigate Argentina's team. UK Business Secretary Pete Kyle said that the players' behaviour was entirely inappropriate.
My reaction is that it was entirely inappropriate. Politics needs to be separate from football. In fact, the World Cup has one of its central tenets that politics is separate from football. Now, that is now a matter for FIFA. I expect FIFA to do its investigation thoroughly.
Well, with that, it's a wrap on Race to Power tonight. As always, we will keep getting you updates and analysis from India and across the world. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Bye-bye.
India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is one.
The stress of our world can take a toll on our physical and emotional health. Here, in New York's Catskill Mountains, lies a luxurious place of healing called WION Wellness Center. The WION Wellness Center provides 500,000 square feet of natural methods to manage diabetes, hypertension, chronic pain, obesity, depression, anxiety, and other conditions. We use the traditions of centuries-old natural science from India, yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy in personalized programs that help you take charge of your own health. A minimum 5-day stay is recommended for best results. Book now at yo1.com.
In this rapidly changing world, is your health keeping pace? Best practices and breakthroughs busting the hype with real insights. The timeless power of yoga and ancient healing. Good food, good mood. Small steps, big impact. Your health matters. Only on WION World is One. Because nothing matters more.
Get the latest updates. Breaking news. Credible, clear, continuous. Experts across aisles. Diverse voices, one platform. WION World is One. In-depth coverage of global issues broken down into facts, figures, and simple words. Backed with analysis from field experts who truly matter, because we believe in decoding the real picture for you. So you get a much wider and deeper understanding of stories from around the world, a 360-degree analysis. An award-winning documentary series, week after week creating the maximum impact. Watch WION Wide Angle at these times on WION. World is One.
India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is One.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We are live on WION World is One. Time now for WION Fine Print. I'm Eric Njoka. The headlines. Iran's negotiator Mohammad Ghalibaf says Tehran is in existential war with the United States and that its security depends on controlling the Strait of Hormuz. Ukraine's ousted defense minister issues stunning public criticism of the army's top commander, forcing Volodymyr Zelensky to call for unity amid signs of an emerging split inside the military establishment. President Trump will give a prime-time address to the nation that is expected to focus on his false claims that he won the 2020 presidential election. At least one dead and over 100 hospitalized as a large gathering of devotees during the Jagannath Yatra in Puri triggers a stampede on the Grand Road. A memorial service is held for South African footballer Jaden Adams, whose death at the age of 25 has shocked the country's football community. The United States and Iran exchanged fire for the fifth consecutive day as the battle over Strait of Hormuz intensifies while Tehran draws a Hormuz red line. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, is weighing options to widen the strikes. Iran's negotiator Mohammad Ghalibaf says Tehran is in existential war with the United States. The latest, Iran has carried out retaliatory strikes with missiles and drones targeting Bahrain, Jordan and Kuwait, which host U.S. bases. Iraq's Prime Minister Ali al-Zaidi claimed there was an overnight drone attack on the city of Erbil in Iraqi Kurdistan province. The attack, which was intercepted, came as al-Zaidi pledged to disarm non-state armed groups during his White House meeting with President Trump. Iran has drawn a red line for the United States. It has warned that Tehran will crush key targets in the West Asia region if Trump's threats to target the country's infrastructure in the coming days are carried out. This comes a day after Trump threatened that U.S. forces would target key Iranian infrastructure next week if the diplomatic breakthrough is not achieved.
The criminal United States continues its lawlessness and its efforts to destabilize the region. First, we once again stress that under no circumstances and in no way will we allow the United States, as a foreign and extra-regional country, to interfere in the Strait of Hormuz. This is Iran's inviolable red line.
The US, on the other hand, launched a wave of strikes on Iran, hitting areas around Tehran for the first time in the current round of fighting, as well as striking other provinces. The US also said it fired on a tanker sailing towards Karg Island, Iran's biggest oil export terminal. According to the CENTCOM, it fired a Hellfire missile at the ship after it ignored multiple